In one horrifying moment, the Boston Marathon turned into a scene of carnage and panic today. Two simultaneous and powerful explosions tore through the crowd that had gathered near the finish line. Emergency crews rushed to the scene and found spectators piled upon each other, bloodied and injured. From the air, the scale of the damage is equally clear. Spectators who were there say it was chaotic and sickening to watch.
I turned around to have some guy take a picture of me with the finish in the background. I heard a huge explosion. Look, there was a big fireball. Everybody kind of went into a panic mode, started running down the finish line chute towards the Common to try to keep everybody calm. And then literally like 15 seconds after, there was a second explosion as well.
Tell me about your dad.
He had injuries to his legs. It seemed like most people, his lower extremities. And there were some bad-looking people, and I'm praying for all of them.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. U.S. President Barack Obama is vowing to hunt down whoever is responsible for what U.S. authorities are now calling a terrorist attack. At this hour, police in Boston say at least 2 people were killed and more than 130 others were injured. They're warning people in the city not to gather in crowds while they try to make sure there are no other explosives ready to go off. Police in New York City and London have also stepped up their security measures. Our coverage begins tonight with our Washington Bureau Chief, Eric Sorensen. Eric, what's the latest?
The latest, Robin, is that there were 2 explosions this afternoon, almost simultaneously, right by the finish line of the world-famous Boston Marathon. Some of the slower runners were just finishing the race about 4 hours after it began when the first explosion went off just off to their left-hand side. 12 seconds later, a second explosion went off. The latest word is that there are 2 dead, including an 8-year-old child. It's estimated now that more than 130 people were injured, mostly bystanders and spectators, some seriously. That includes multiple amputations. Ball bearings apparently were a part of some of the explosive devices, clearly designed to inflict multiple injuries. Here's what one runner had to say who had just finished the marathon.
All I could see was glass coming out towards the road, and a big fire. It looked like a fireball or something. After running 26.2 miles and thinking you were going to finish in a great mood, and then to see that, it's just unfathomable.
Police say there was no advance warning. They have no suspects, but they are interviewing witnesses, possibly suspects who were around the scene of those explosions. The White House is now suggesting that this was an act of terror. If so, it is targeting one of the iconic American sporting events, the Boston Marathon, that attracts 26,000 runners from around the world. President Obama said tonight investigators will find who did this.
And I've directed the full resources of the federal government to help state and local authorities protect our people, increase security around the United States as necessary, and investigate what happened. The American people will say a prayer for Boston tonight, and Michelle and I send our deepest thoughts and prayers to the families of the victims in the wake of this senseless loss. We still do not know who did this or why, and people shouldn't jump to conclusions before we have all the facts. But make no mistake, we will get to the bottom of this, and we will find out who did this. We'll find out why they did this. Any responsible individuals, any responsible groups will feel the full weight of justice.
The Boston Marathon is not only an iconic sports target, it is a relatively easy target. Many sports events, you have to go into a stadium and bags will be checked, but this event is 26 miles, some 40 kilometers long. There was a security sweep before the race began, but people could wander up and get very close with their bags. In fact, one of the problems in the aftermath was that in the panic, as everything was going on, people dropped their bags and ran off, and police were left to treat many of those bags as suspicious. And as of tonight, it's not clear exactly how many explosive devices there may have been. Robin?
Eric Sorensen in Washington.